Hey guys, it's Crypto Marie. She does it all, a little bit of everything slash gossip and reaction Marie's take. I want to bring you some information about the governor from Florida. Ron DeSantis invited VP Kamala Harris to have a conversation about slavery. You know, the standard in Florida school now that they are saying that some slaves were beneficial from the use skills they get, which is disgusting, outrageous. As black people, we don't feel that way. Any kind of slavery, wherever it took place, there cannot be anything beneficial from it. So anyhow, now I'm gonna tell you what was the response from VP Kamala Harris from the invitation from this man that governed Florida. It says Kamala Harris rejects Ron DeSantis' offer to discuss slavery curriculum. Kamala Harris fired back at the Florida governor Ron DeSantis after he invited her to discuss new school standards for the teaching of African American history, which claims some enslaved people derive benefits that could use in later life, which is disgusting. I find it. So I'm glad she rejected, but at the same time, something in me tell me she should have allowed him to give his point of view. But at the end of the day, you could tell the guy has no kind of understanding what slavery was. So why wasting my time talking to somebody who has no clue or who doesn't care to even find out? Why would you allow something like that happen, period? It says Kamala Harris fired back at the Florida governor Ron DeSantis after he invited her to discuss new school standards for the teaching of African American history, which claims some enslaved people derive benefits that could be used in later life. There was no round table, no lecture, no invitations will accept to debate an undeniable fact. There were no redeeming qualities of slavery, the vice president said. Harris, the first woman and first person of color to be vice president, was speaking in Florida at a convention of the Women's Missionary Society of the African Methodist Episcopal Church in Orlando on Tuesday. Harris had previously attacked the Florida school standards, saying last month the state was pushing propaganda at children. DeSantis made his invitation on Monday in a letter complaining that the Biden administration has repeatedly disparaged our state and misinformed Americans about our education system. The governor claimed to have pushed forward nation's leading standalone African American history standards, one of the only states in the nation to require this level of learning about such an important subject. One would think the White House would applaud such really boldness in teaching the unique and important story of African American history, but you have instead attempted to score cheap political point and label Florida parents extremists. Sir, you have no clue how much you hurt us as black people. Now, my thing is, before they wrote that standard to be teaching in Florida school, did they have a survey? Did they go around asking black people or people of color, however they call it, differences? Did they have any, or they just get together, the educated one, and decide to think for the parents and decide to think for black people? You were not in our shoes and our ancestors' shoes to know what we've been through. You have not touched a book to know what black history was here in this country. People, it is so sensitive to talk about slavery. They don't even want to talk about it. They don't even want to touch the subject. So we would applaud it if you were to tell the truth. What you have mentioned to be taught in the school is not the truth, sir. That's why we are not supported. We cannot support it. And I am glad she rejected your invitation. To me, it's a clouds movement. You want to be seen with the vice president talking about subject to bring you more clouds, to bring you more people on your table. Don't be ignorant. If you don't know, you ask. You can't just have a standard to be teaching at a school in a state and knowing it's not the truth. We cannot support that, period. According to the Gilbert Lehman Institute of American History in the New York, from approximately 1526 to 1867, some 12.5 million captured men and women and children were put on ships in Africa, and 10.7 million arrived in America. Slavery ended in the U.S. about 350 years after it began, with ratification of the 13th Amendment in December 1865. Can you imagine? 350 years of somebody telling you what to do, how to do it, and if you don't do it, you get your life taken away, you get beaten, whipped, sexually abused. For the woman in front of their husband, for the men, some of them was forced to do a certain act. Like, can you imagine 350 years? That's why until today, we see, with all the respect, Black people, I don't care if you're from the Caribbean, if you're from America, Latin America, we still have this thing holding us back, knowing somebody have to tell us. We could be better than them, but we cannot show it because we think, oh, it's an insult to know that you're better than a white person at a certain thing. But you know what? Too bad. Basketball, football, it is what it is. It is being shown that we can jump, we can dance, we could do it all. So there was no game, no shame on our game, okay? So again, I might have to come back to finish the whole story. I am glad she rejected his invitation because it was a cloud movement. You know, cloud want people to see, oh, I'm with the VP. We're talking about some, I can say on YouTube. You should have thought about it. You guys should have done some kind of survey before you have that standards to be teaching to our kids. I still have small kids in Florida school. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's fair. There were no good that can come from slavery, period. If you cannot feel that way, if you have a way of discussing that, because the people you mentioned, the 6 people you mentioned that were beneficial were educated people, were people that were trying to make some kind of movement to stop the slavery. So how can you say they were beneficial? They were not in the field picking up cotton. They were not in the field being whipped. They were not in the field being sexually, taken advantage of in front of their husband or wife. So how can you say it was beneficial, period? It was wrong. And if you cannot stand up to eliminate that standards to be teaching to our kids, then we have a problem, period. DeSantis is distant second to Donald Trump in the Republican presidential primary. His letter was a political stunt. The governor complained about hateful Marxist thought, critical race theory, and diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative, all bugbears for the hard right and the fight over education and the teaching of history. He also hit at Harris for her work on immigration and the southern border. This is exactly, I'm glad VP Kamala Harris rejected it, because it was not gonna be about slavery. He was gonna try to attack the woman about what she's been done while she's there. And as a VP, it's not so much you can do. You just gotta go with what the president say, whatever. So at the end of the day, I'm glad she rejected, and he doesn't deserve that kind of light from the VP, from Black people, period. If you can approve that slavery was beneficial, then what else should we say to you? You're not going to understand it. You were not in our shoes. You have not been there. You don't care. You say if you become president, you are going to remove the birthright of citizenship of the children that were born here. That's one thing that's already get us thinking, oh, wow, really? Come on, you're not for us, okay? You are not for us. God bless you and your family. And America needs somebody who understands the Constitution. You cannot change it because you feel like. So, again, I'm glad she rejected. Subscribe. Let me know how you feel. Bye.